So let me get to our guest, because what we've talked about a lot just a minute ago was Hillary Clinton's campaign and the fact that Democrats to this day don't want to accept that she lost, and they don't want to accept why she lost. Our guest right now is Doug Wead. I'm sure you've seen him as a commentator on a lot of outlets across the country. He's also the author of a new book called Game of Thorns, the inside story of Hillary Clinton's failed campaign and Donald Trump's winning strategy. Doug, how are you?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great.
Great to have you on the show today, and can't wait to get a hold of the book. I don't have a copy of it yet, but I'm planning on doing that. So fascinating here that the left in this country will not accept the fact that Hillary Clinton was just a really bad candidate from the get-go.
Yeah, my wife kept telling me when I was writing it before the election, started writing it before the election was over. My wife said, Hillary's going to win and you're going to be audited because that was coming. I mean, she pointed her best friend as director of the IRS when Bill Clinton won the presidency, and they immediately went after all their enemies. They created their own. By the way, you hear Trump's being made fun of for suggesting his predecessor wiretapped him. Well, Hillary was convinced that sweet old George Herbert Walker Bush was listening in on them. So as soon as the Clintons moved into the White House, they had the Secret Service sweep the private quarters for bugs, and they weren't satisfied, so they had the FBI come in and do it. And then they finally set up their own White House security office, they called it, and they manned it with campaign workers and accessed FBI files on all their enemies. It was called Filegate. Your listeners can look it up.
I remember that. Yeah. I wonder how good of a bug you need to have to hear lamps breaking, though.
That's a good point. And it was kind of funny. The national media was saying that President Trump's paranoid for suspecting that someone might be listening in on him, and a couple days later they announced that the CIA is watching us all through our Samsung television.
Thank you. I know, and maybe monitoring your voice and everything. I know, it's scary stuff.
They keep it straight. but yes, the shattering glass, that's quite a story.
You started writing this book before the election was over, so I'm guessing this was not the working title, or did you believe that she was going to lose that election?
Well, I'm one of the few on television that kept saying this guy's got a chance, and so I was I was prepared either way. It didn't look very good. I mean, she outmanned him 5-1, and she outspent him 8-1, counting the super PAC money. She had all of Wall Street behind her, all of academia, all of Hollywood. She had 960,000 foot soldiers for the turnout to vote ground game, which almost doubled what Obama had. So it looked just impossible.
But in the end, and I think I read, I'm trying to remember who reported this, that even Bill Clinton was upset with Robbie Mook and some of these other characters for what they failed to see in the final couple of months of that election, the trends that were going on and the messaging they were putting out. Do you address that in the book?
Yeah, you're very right. Yes, I've got the whole blow-by-blow inside. At one point, Bill Clinton was so angry he took his cell phone, and threw it off the rooftop of the presidential pad in Little Rock. He was mad because he felt she was losing the Catholic vote unnecessarily so, felt she could get part of it. She turned down an invitation to Notre Dame at St. Patrick's Day that year. And then when the leaked emails come, everybody's talking about how Russia hacked into the DNC.
Right.
But they're not talking about what was in those emails. But this idea of a Catholic Spring, this was a plan after the Clintons came to power of co-opting the Catholic Church and rewriting its doctrines to make them more in line with their own liberal philosophy. That was outrageous. And Bill Clinton was saying, you can't keep ignoring that. You got to get out in front and say, no, we're not going to do this. And her fear, and Mook and Podesta, was, no, you're just drawing more attention to it. The news media is ignoring it. Let's just stay away from it.
Yeah. How was it just a matter of disbelief near the end of her campaign? I mean, do you talk about that at all in the book? Because my first clue that the Clinton campaign suspected that they were going to have a problem is a day or two out when they canceled their fireworks display. I thought that was kind of telling. But if they didn't realize till then what Donald Trump was doing in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania, that ship had already sailed.
Yeah. No, you're right. They had the early warning that it was going to be closer than they thought. They did have that. And that's what forced them to cancel the fireworks display. But they didn't think they were going to lose still. And Barack Obama warned them on the other bookend. He called up to Brooklyn, and after the conversation, when they hung up, the intern there laughed at him. He was saying, "You're losing the evangelical Christian vote. These people are upset by the lewd comments that Donald Trump made in the Access Hollywood tape. They'll vote for you. If you just ask, you'll get some of them. You won't get all of them. You'll get some of them." Instead, they produced a Hollywood video, "Get Out the Vote," that used the F word and used all kinds of profanity. You can imagine what would happen if a political campaign used the name Muhammad as a cuss word, but they used Jesus as a cuss word and F and this, F and that to get out the vote. And, of course, they did get out the vote, but the white evangelicals were 26% of the vote. They voted 81% for Donald Trump.
Yeah. When you talk about Trump's winning strategy, do you credit that? I mean, sometimes people look at Trump and they laugh at him when he tweets a certain thing or makes a certain comment that they think is silly. And then a week or two later, or maybe later than that, they start to realize what he was doing or saying. I mean, is he smart like a fox? Is that what you what you saw with his strategy? Yeah, crazy like a fox.
I would call over there, Mark, and I'd say, "You're off message." I had friends in Trump Tower. They'd say, "No, we're not." I said, "Yes, you are. This tweet, this is ridiculous." And they said, "Well, you don't know the message. The message is, number one, make America great again. But the second part of the message is, I'm not a politician." And all of his rough edges and all the awkwardness, we let him be himself because people sense. They don't understand how the Import-Export Bank works or the Fed works, but they've got this innate sense that they're getting screwed and that it's corrupt. And they want an outsider who will turn over the tables. And so in a unusual reverse way, his amateurness actually has appeal.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the book. When you just said that you called into Trump Tower because you had some friends there, you could be on an NSA tape somewhere.
I guarantee you I am. Aren't we all?
I suspect maybe you're right. Doug Wead, listen, I appreciate your time. The book is called Game of Thorns, the inside story of Hillary Clinton's failed campaign and Donald Trump's winning strategy. And I'm guessing it's available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And Doug's website is dougwead, WEAD.com.